morning, everyone. I'm Hiro Matsuda from the San Kaigan UNESCO Global Geopark. It's my pleasure to introduce our efforts in the past 10 years since we have started our geopark activities. Today, I would like to talk about management issue, sustainable geopark management. Before I go into the subject, I'd like to touch my geopark briefly. San Kaigan is the nearest geopark from Oki UNESCO Global Geopark. The distance between two geoparks is about 100 kilometers, so maybe we are here near the city. The park stretches 120 kilometers from the western edge to the southern to the eastern edge, and about 30 kilometers from north to south. The area is about 2,400 square kilometers, and it is as large as Tokyo metropolitan area. As a population of 375,000 is less than 3% of Tokyo area, so it is basically countryside with farmers and fishermen villages spreading out in the area. San Kaigan has the largest area among UNESCO Global Geopark in Japan. It includes 3 cities and 3 towns. These are the pictures of our popular geosites. We have sand dunes and rice terrace and ski resorts on landsliding area, and we also have strange shape of rocks and complicated coastline, and we also have many hot springs, and you can enjoy many activities like canoeing and other sports. The theme of our geopark is geological features, the natural environment, people's lives, and formation of the Sea of Japan. The theme of our story is very important because it helps to establish the identity of geopark and to be unified as a single geopark when you have the large area, especially when you have a large area of the geoparks. To start with my subject, I'd like to speak my basic perception on geopark management. Geopark has quite a short history, maybe less than 20 years globally and 10 years in Japan. So I think there is not yet an ideal geopark management style or system. I mean, we are still on our way to look for or on the way to get the best management organization or system. Please keep in mind, these are my viewpoints for explanation. Number one is local government-led management style. I will talk about strengths and weakness comes from the initiatives taken by local governments. And I also talk about number two is council style as an organizational structure. The council, or you can say committee, is a kind of fellowship to promote bottom-up activities in our geopark. Then I go to the first topic of local government management style. Strong support from local government is popular and common among Japanese geoparks. Strong support, both in terms of financially and in terms of human resources. it has advantage for geopark management because geopark activities are basically require bottom-up approach. In Japan, cities and towns are the closest government for local residents. Therefore, it is easier to reflect the voice or opinions of citizens geopark management. This is a chart of Japanese governance system. I think Dr. Watanabe talked about this topic yesterday, so it might be overlapping, but anyway, the Japanese governance system has three layers: national government, prefecture, and municipality. Municipality is city, towns, and villages. Cities and towns are in charge of closely related fields to residents' lives, like schools, water supply, and disaster prevention, and so on. So the Sankaigan Promotion Council, which I belong to, is located here on this chart because it is supported by 3 cities and 3 towns, and 3 prefectures also support our council. Prefecture is a larger area, and cities and towns must belong to any prefecture. And chairperson and vice chair of our council is occupied by 6 mayors of my geoparks. There is number 3. There is a financial merit when the mayor is the top of the operating organization, top of the council, because they have the authority to budget, and so tax money can be supplied to our management body. In our geopark, the operating budget of the management body are covered by tax. I think tax as financial resources of geopark is more stable than using other financial resources like entrance fee or other revenues. The stability is basically secure as far as the mayor thinks the geopark is important for the region. But there is another risk. The mayors have election every 4 years in Japan. So if they are replaced by other person, there is a risk that the attitude towards the geopark may change. Fortunately, we have not experienced such case so far. But anyway, there is any risk when you have an election for mayors or governors of the prefecture. Local governments also play a major role in supply of human resources. In our geopark, 9 out of 15 staff of the council are local government officials. They are engaged in geopark operation in full-time basis. Their personnel expenses also covered by tax. And I have to point out there are some demerits as well. Local governments are responsible for various fields, so they must always consider the balance between geoparks and other fields of the government. Geopark is not the only one problem for the governments. It means resource allocation is competitive among those fields such as welfare, medical care, disaster prevention, education, environment, industry, and so on. Another thing I want to mention is about the involvement of multiple local governments. multiple is two or more, there are geoparks in which only one local government is involved, but in many cases in Japan, more than one government related to a single government. So, in case of Sankaiga, as I said, 9 local governments support the operation. 3 cities, 3 towns, and 3 prefectures. A good point for multiple local government improvement is that it will be favorable to supply sufficient budget and human resources. On the other hand, some gap among those local governments easily come up to surface because not all the governments which belongs to the same geopark have the same opinion or interest or priority to their geopark. If there is a difference among them, we the council will require time and efforts to adjustment or coordination among the governments. This is the second topic. I would like to talk about council style as an organizational structure. This is also common for management in Japanese geoparks. I think the council effectively contributes to lower the hurdles of participation of diverse geopark stakeholders. Council also makes it easier to coordinate opinions among members. In Sankaiga, the council is composed of 36 members. They are the 9 local governments, of course, and other representatives from interest groups or cooperative associations. For example, Chamber of Commerce, Tourism Association, Fisheries Association, Hotel Associations, etc. Many companies and individual managers are the members of those groups or associations. So there is a merit that those members will be cooperative in the operation of the geopark. And it will make it easier, larger number of stakeholders to raise awareness for geoparks. The members of our council have equal voting rights at the general meeting, which is a decision-making place of our council. But to be honest, it is difficult to hold a general meeting frequently because it is there are many members of the council, and again the Sankaiga has a large area, so usually it takes about once or twice a year. To make up for these demerits, we have a steering committee and a specialized subcommittee under it. These committees are held frequently as many as several times in a year, and they are an advisory board for our council. Scholars and experts join the committees and discuss management policy and the planning of the project. Opinions at these committees became the agenda of the general meeting to make decisions. Finally, I would like to point out another problem of the council as a legal entity. Actually, I didn't have the correct answer to this question, but the UNESCO guideline says that, quote, UNESCO Global Geopark should be areas with a management body having legal existence recognized under national legislation. But most of Japanese council-style geoparks are voluntary organizations. They are not juridical organizations like companies or NPOs and NGOs. But as I said, the local governments are in the leadership position in the council or committee of the Japanese Geopark. So, of course, local governments are based on national law. So I understand that so far the council is accepted because of this reason in Japan. However, it is in light of UNESCO guidelines, it is still ambiguous in the legal status of council. For this reason, we are now preparing to exchange memorandum. Memorandum is like a kind of contract among members of council to make rights and obligations clear among members of council. That's all for my presentation. I have focused on the council system led by local governments and showed some advantage and disadvantage. But again, our management has only 10 years history. The reality is we are repeating trials and errors. So today is my story. Maybe, hopefully, a suggestion for you, but it is not an answer. I hope everyone here will be inspired to consider better idea for geopark management with reference to our experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Just maybe if we can take some questions if you have.
Well, I would like to comment on your last point here, because I think that I didn't understand so well. The members of the council are individuals which are nominated, okay? But no council can have, because these individuals are representing their authority. So when the guidelines of UNESCO are talking about legal personality, this is the personality of the institution. And I totally agree with what you said, that of course the local governments are legal bodies in all countries. It's exactly the same. So I don't personally have difficulty to find any problem with that.
Thanks. I agree.
Can I ask one simple but maybe difficult question? What is the difficulty you faced most among this structure? Because you said there are a lot of bad point also, merit also, but difficult point. And what is the most difficult part for you?
My intention is that I intend to explain the difficulty. So far, I think, as you said, there are a lot of merits rather than demerits of the council style. So I actually do not face any serious difficulty so far. But anyway, just some doubtful points, such as legal entities. So I would like to show you newly establishing geopark friends to understand what the problem is in our legal system.
have found 36 members
Yeah.
and 3 township, 9%. And so, what kind of people are composed in your?
What kind of people?
Yeah, what maybe stakeholders or other, what kind of people? They are only stakeholder or government staff?
Not only government, but also many various fields.
For example?
Or the local residents. But for our council, the government, local governments, have the strong leadership to manage geopark activity. So we have 36 members in total, but actually more than 95 or 6% of revenue depends on the government, 9 local governments. So that's the reason why I explained the leadership of the local government.
These members are elected by the government or your own society? Who elected these 36 members?
6 members.
36.
6 means there are citizens on the bottom on the chart, and on that there are 3 layers of government, and the most closest ones are municipalities, that is cities, towns, and villages. And we have 3 cities and 3 towns for our council, and we also have 3 prefectures, and that has a larger area. And cities and towns and villages have to belong to any prefecture. So we have 9 local governments in total to support our issue.
You said there's 9 local governments,
Oh, yes.
and so between those governments, you said there's a gap in the opinion over geopark concept between those local governments. So could you give me some example? What kind of issue do they have, and how did you get over those problems?
Oh yes. I'd like to show these maps. For example, Totori Prefecture is the most western geopark. It has half of the population belongs to our geopark. The other half maybe outside of the area. But most eastern side of the area, it belongs to Kyoto Prefecture. Only one city belongs to Kyoto. So think about governance. Governance have to consider about the whole area of the prefecture. But totally to the government, the interest or the awareness or priority is half of the area. But in Kyoto, the government is not so much as in Kyoto area. So naturally, they come up with some difference and gap.